Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Samara. Today, we're talking about a phenomenon that almost everyone with bipolar disorder has experienced, but it rarely gets enough attention. We are talking about what happens to the bipolar brain when the sun goes down. To help us shine a light on these nighttime symptoms, we are joined by our expert author, Dr. Laura. Welcome to the show, Laura.
Thank you, Samara. I'm so glad we are covering this today. The night can be an incredibly lonely and difficult time for people living with bipolar disorder.
It really can. You know, I was reading your latest article on bipolar lives, and you point out that nighttime isn't just about trouble sleeping. The actual symptoms of bipolar disorder seem to change or amplify in the dark. Why does that happen?
It all comes down to our circadian rhythm, our internal biological clock. In a neurotypical brain, as it gets dark, the brain releases melatonin, calming the nervous system down. But in a bipolar brain, that clock is highly sensitive and often out of sync. Instead of winding down, the brain might actually misfire and ramp up.
So the darkness itself is acting like a trigger.
Exactly. Let's look at a hypomanic or manic phase. At night, when the house is quiet and there are no distractions, a person might suddenly experience an explosion of racing thoughts. It's that infamous wired and tired feeling. Your body is exhausted, but your brain is planning a new business, writing a novel, or reorganizing the kitchen at 3 a.m.
I think a lot of our listeners are nodding their heads right now. It sounds productive, but it's actually exhausting.
It is. And the lack of sleep then pours gasoline on the mania, making the next day even worse. But then, Samara, we have the other side of the coin, depressive nights.
Right. What happens when someone is in a depressive phase at night?
Nighttime removes all our daytime distractions. We don't have work or chores or social interactions to mask the pain. In the quiet of the dark, rumination takes over. This is when intrusive thoughts, intense feelings of worthlessness, and profound sadness hit the hardest. It's why anxiety and panic attacks often spike between midnight and 4 a.m.
That 3 a.m. dread. It's so isolating because the rest of the world is asleep. So, Dr. Laura, what can we actually do? How do we protect our minds when night falls?
First, you have to build a buffer zone before bed. You cannot expect a bipolar brain to go from 100 miles an hour to 0 just because your head hit the pillow. We need strict sleep hygiene. That means dimming the lights, putting away screens, and perhaps using blue light blocking glasses 2 hours before bed.
So, giving the brain biological cues that it's time to power down.
Yes. And second, if you wake up and your thoughts are racing, don't lie there in the dark fighting it. Get up, keep the lights very low, and do something incredibly boring. Read a technical manual. Fold laundry. Do not turn on the TV or your phone. Tell your brain, it is still night, and we are not starting the day.
I love that. We are not starting the day. It's practical, and it takes the pressure off. Dr. Laura, thank you for always giving us the science, but also the real-world tools we need to survive the night.
It's my pleasure, Samara. Remember, the sun always comes up eventually.
What a beautiful note to end on. If you want to dive deeper into this topic and read the full research, check out the link in our description to visit Bipolar Lives. Thank you all so much for listening. If you found today's episode helpful, please be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us create more content just like this. Sleep well and stay balanced.